Alrighty. Hey, we are live here in the Con Valley studio in the future of the water and wastewater industry and the careers you didn't know about. And we had a little bit of a malfunction on the audio side. This is going to be take number 2, and you're never going to hear take number 1. But with us in the studio from the Metropolitan District in Hartford, we have Mr. Ryon Jagoda, who is a Class 3 operator in the wastewater plant up on Brainerd Road. Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
Okay, let's do this again. Okay, so just recapping. How many years did you have in Portland before you went up to MDC?
I worked 17 years in Portland.
17 years, and now you've been up to MDC now. What, for 5, 7?
9.
9. Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
Sure does.
Wow, unbelievable. So basically, your duties in Portland. I mean, it was obviously a small plant, and everybody had to do pretty much everything. So you did most of the lab work down there, and moving to MDC is. Were you a lab technician up at MDC?
No, I mean the lab is pretty much a separate entity.
Yeah.
MDC. So I just worked operations.
Operations. So how many guys you have on a shift now up there now?
Well, we work 3 shifts a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's probably 40 or so operators total. During the daytime, I would say there's probably close to 30 people on during the day, and then
wow.
It's usually 6 and 6 on the two other shifts.
So you've since been promoted up to supervisor, correct?
Yep.
So what's that entail from a supervising role versus when you started there?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have your hand in everything. So you kind of have to. The way I try to do it is there's every area has its own crew leader.
Yep.
So I just try to facilitate whatever the crew leaders need to get their job done. I try to facilitate that in the best way possible. So.
Right. Now, obviously, being a class. Now, what's involved in as far as for certification go? Now, did you do the Sacramento course or did?
Yeah, I did a whole bunch of the Sacramento courses. I took some college credits too, and there was a pretty wide mix of the things that I did. I mean, there's a lot of different paths you can take. Really.
Now, as far as in relation to, I know we just finished last week the Learn and Earn program where MDC is basically brings high school students from around the district in and to tour very facility, and this year we the wastewater facility we toured was actually the Rocky Hill plant, which was a little bit smaller than your plant.
A little bit, yeah. But just went through a recent upgrades and looking in good shape. So.
Yeah, it's a nice plant, nice facility over there, and so forth. So what's your day job like? Getting in the morning. What's that entail? Now you're pretty much on first shift most of the time.
Well, I do work a split shift, so I work 3 days and then 2 nights. So,
okay. How does that work out for you?
I'd rather be on all days, but it is what it is. So
yeah.
It's the second best option. Let's put it that way. So.
Oh, okay. So when you get in the morning, what does your daily tasks include as far as that goes?
Well, I mean, I keep track of time for everybody. So see who's in for the day or out on vacation or out sick or whatever. I do that, and then basically I just make sure everybody is lined up to do what they need to do for the day.
So now, as far as in relation to monitoring the flow, is that coming in? Is that something that you have to keep an eye on as far as what's coming in on the influence side?
Yeah, but I mean, as long as it's not raining, you don't really worry about it too much.
Okay.
I mean, when there's a rain event, there's a lot of things that go into that, so that's a major part of the job, really. So
right, and that's one of the main reasons why I think they opted to build a tunnel, correct?
Yes.
To circumvent a lot of those bypasses.
Exactly.
Okay. I know we did some testing out. Now, are you guys dumping? You guys dump right out into the river on your outflow, correct?
Yep.
Didn't you? You used to dump into Weathersfield Cove there for a while.
If they did, it was before my time. I don't know.
Okay, because I know they had some issues there. I think prior. And that's one of the issues as far as with extreme rain events. When you get over the overcapacity of what the plant can handle, then it obviously bypasses, and then you're not treating what you're supposed to be treating, and that becomes an issue
Right.
as far as that goes. But we had. Susan was on as far as talking a little bit about the tunnel, and that pretty much was her baby as far as that can go and getting it done and so forth. But we had a nice tour of the facility across the street. Obviously looking down in the boring shaft, and as far that's a long way down.
It's 200 feet down. That's a long way. Yeah.
So basically from that shaft, they pump it over to the head end of your plant. Is that how it's going to work?
That's how it's going to work.
And they can, obviously can treat that as the plant has the capacity, without overflow.
Right. The idea is to use the tunnel as a storage facility. So when there's a rainstorm and we have a large amount of flow, we store it in there to an extent so that we could handle the rest of the flow coming in, and then we meter in the flow from the tunnel after it rains, after all our high flows have gone down.
Right. So, which is always sometimes a challenge, with especially with no storage on an extreme rain event as far as that goes. Sure. When you started out, I mean, you're a graduate of Portland High School, and so how did you decide on your career path?
I wanted a job with the town of Portland. I went to college for a brief period of time, found out that it wasn't really for me, so I know a lot of people in town, so I tried to get into a job with the town, thinking that I was going to go work out in with the road crew out in the town garage.
Yeah.
But the way they get your foot in the door was to work part-time down at the sewer plant. So
okay,
I did that, and I kind of liked it. So after a period of time, they offered me a job, and I said yes.
I love it when a plan comes together. So, giving advice, obviously the premise of, creating this podcast is to make, high school students, college students aware of the careers that are available in the water and wastewater industry. And it's a big umbrella. We, like I say, we toured the MDC facilities with the Learn and Earn, but, you've got lab technicians, you've got samplers, you've got HR people, you've got engineers, you've got operators, you've got, both water and the wastewater side. So, I think, what advice would you give to a high school senior?
Well, if they're looking to get into the wastewater industry, I think you should certainly they have classes at the community colleges throughout the state that you can take, and certificate programs, which I did for a period of time. I think that's a great way to start, and there's a lot of jobs out there. So if you need, if you're looking for a job, get certified and apply. I think there's a lot of places you can go.
And there's not necessarily a requirement that you have to have a college degree for that.
No.
So I mean, obviously you went that route, and you're doing great.
I think so.
Hey, love it when you get to play golf, and
not as much as I'd like to.
I hear you. So forth. Here we live in Portland. We've got 3 golf courses, and a lot of times you just don't get out when you want to get out. As far as that, as far as good. So when you have obviously wastewater coming into the plant now, the Hartford plant also takes wastewater from sludge haulers from that pump septic tanks and so forth. So
it's from other treatment plants. We collect their sludge too. I mean, we have a regional solids handling facility that takes it in from all over, even other states. So.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Now you also have what is it, sludge to energy, to where you burn that, and is that supplies some of the electricity for the plant?
Right. We process all the sludge that comes in and turn it into what we call cake solids, which is like solids of a consistency of, say, peanut butter or so, and then we burn it in our we have multiple hearth furnaces, which burn the sludge, and then we capture the exhausted heat from that in two boilers, which create steam, and we send it through a turbine to create energy.
So, what percentage of the electricity do you think you produce with the plant?
I'm not 100% sure of the percentage, but I know we saved close to $2 million last year just from
burning
your
sludge and
making our own energy. Yeah,
oh, that's significant. That's nothing, especially with electricity distribution costs the way they are now. Everything is going up. It's crazy now. So you're on first shift, and basically you have 30 to 40 guys on a shift as far as
on the day shift. Yeah.
On the day shift. So the guys that you have on day shift, a little bit about what they're doing. You have people that go around and take the sludge samples, or are those pretty much lab people that do that?
We have samplers that we have set up all throughout the plant that we have to keep an eye on. We do collect the samples and put them in a fridge that the lab will collect out from there.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a lot of different roles throughout the plant. So
Now your lab samples are they processed right at the plant, or do they go up to Res 6? The lab up there.
We have a lab at our place.
So that pretty much self-sufficient there.
Yep.
That do all of that as far as that. Now, are you required? I know, obviously, from a standpoint of regulations, are you required to handle any of the processing and getting the sampling to the state as far as that goes?
Not the operators. No, that's for the lab.
That's for the lab. They do that, and so the different tests that you have dissolved oxygen. You have the BO. What other tests are you normally testing for?
Well, we test solids, the amount of solids coming in, the amount of solids coming out.
Yeah.
BOD, which is biochemical oxygen demand, which is it's kind of a pollutant. So we try to make sure we don't send too much out to the river, because it could cause algae blooms and
with the phosphates and all that.
Yeah, and so we have to stay under a certain limit for that, as well as with the suspended solids. I mean, there's quite a few. So I mean, every step along the way, you test all these things.
Sure. Now, as far as in relation to your residual that go out to the river, are you disinfecting all year round, or are you just during the summer months?
Just in the summer months.
So that's from what, March to September or something?
April 1st till October 31st.
October 31st. So that being, as the temperature rises, obviously promotes algae growth and all of that kind of good stuff, and E. coli, and as far as that, it's always a challenge from that standpoint. I think from as far as your tenure with the MDC is, tell us a little bit about working for the MDC. I mean, is that talking with some of the folks in the Learn and Earn, I think you guys employ north of 400 people. So,
it's a big place, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big place now, and also obviously with that many employees, both on the water and wastewater side, you've got a fair amount of room to advance both vertically and laterally, from side to side. So is that pretty much fair assessment there?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's always jobs somewhere popping up within the district, and like you said, I mean, you could go from the water side, you could go to the wastewater side. There's mechanics, there's electricians, there's auto mechanics, there's equipment operators, there's there's office people, there's bill collectors. It runs the full gamut.
MDC even has their own police department.
Yep.
They manage the watershed as far as that goes, and they even have a full vehicle maintenance.
Oh yeah.
In fact, one of our compadres works over there.
That's right,
Mr. Collar.
Yep.
He's been there. How long has he been there?
I think he's probably maybe 6 years now.
Okay, and he's another town employee that went over to the MDC.
Yep.
Keeps. But the amount of vehicles that they have up there, from cars, trucks to equipment to pumps to you name it, they need people to maintain that. As far as that goes. But yeah, now so you've got 9 years in over there.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the plan?
Well, I'm hoping to get one of those daytime jobs at some point, which is basically one of the satellite plants. So I'd like to work at one of the 3 satellite plants that MDC operates.
So that's now the 3 is one is obviously the Rocky Hill plant. What are the other 2?
There's East Hartford and Pequannock.
Pequannock, that's up in the Windsor side, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now I think we had an operator, Jamie. She started on the wastewater. Now she's doing the Rockville plant. Now I think
she moved to the water side, I believe.
Yeah.
She started at the Hartford plant, though, I believe.
Yeah. And so forth. And that was quite interesting. Having a female operator, and on the wastewater side, she decided to go. Obviously, it is a fine example of being able to move laterally, from the wastewater to the water side. Yeah. And she's been with the district quite a few years now.
Longer than I have, I know that.
Yeah, I think she was around 14 or 15 years that she's been there. So, so now how many gallon? So your the capacity on the Hartford plant is about what? Would you say 50?
We average say 50 million gallons a day, but we could handle up to 200 million.
Okay. Now Rocky Hill plant, how big is that?
I believe they're around 9 million or so.
Okay. Now they still pump their sludge over to you guys, or they truck it over there?
We have a pipeline that comes to us. Yeah.
Okay. Now is that the same with the Pequannock plant?
No, Pequannock they truck over. That's a pretty far haul. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have your own sludge haulers that do that, or do you contract out for that?
They contract, I believe.
I see. Fantastic. All right. Well, excellent. Well, I mean, that's just a little bit of a window into the wastewater side of things, Ryan. I think any regrets in going into that into the wastewater side at all?
No, like I said, I enjoyed. I think it's an interesting mix of chemistry and biology, and there's some hands-on work that I like to do, and it's an interesting career.
Oh, so okay. So on the personal side, obviously, what are your hobbies?
I like to golf.
Yeah.
I like to watch the Yankees.
Yankee fan.
Yep, I'm a Yankee fan.
We went up with the company 2 bus trip up to Red Sox Saturday, and that was horrible. Oh God, I think the high school team could have beat them. My God, they were terrible. Oh Jesus. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about the family. You have 2 kids?
Just one.
Just one. Okay. And what year is he in school now?
He'll be a sophomore at Virginia Tech coming up in a few weeks.
And what's his major?
He's planning on majoring in mechanical engineering.
Nice. Good. Excellent. Okay. I know you and I used to play softball back in the day.
Yep. Those were the old days, Dave.
Yeah. And so forth. And but as you know, I'm a musician. So what's the best concert you've ever been to?
Wow. I've been to quite a few concerts, actually. The best one's a tough one to call. I would say, I saw the Grateful Dead down at Giant Stadium. That was a really good concert. I saw the Allman Brothers at New York City. Forgetting the name of that.
The Beacon Theater.
Yeah. Saw them probably half a dozen times there.
Yeah.
I saw Page and Plant, Madison Square Garden. I've seen the Stones in Madison Square Garden.
Nice.
I've seen a lot of good ones. It's a tough call to really pick one.
So if you had a desert island album, okay, you got stuck on a desert island, what albums would you bring?
That's a tough one too. I'm more of a classics guy. I would love I love the Stones.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, maybe to listen to all the time constantly, I would probably have to say maybe the Allman Brothers.
There you go, jam band, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's they invented the jam band. That's for sure. Between Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and and so forth. And they're too bad. The only ones that are left now, I think, are J-Mo and Dickie, obviously. And Dickie's not playing with them as far as that goes. But I think I'm still friends with J-Mo, and he's gets out. In fact, I think he just went down to the Peach Festival down in Georgia, and he sat in it a couple of times. But he's a great guy and so forth. So, all right, Ryan, thank you so much for coming down again. Mr. Ryon Jagoda is here live in the studio, and Ryan is a operator for the town of Portland and their wastewater treatment plant, and migrated over to MDC. And Ryan, thanks so much for coming down.
No problem, Dave.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode of our Future of the Water and Wastewater Industry, the careers you didn't know about. And live in the studio is a good friend of mine, Mr. Ryon Jagoda, a wastewater operator at the Metropolitan District in Hartford. So stay tuned for our next episode. Hit the bell and like and for our next episode. So until then, bye-bye.